Imagine waking up every day with a clear purpose, unstoppable energy, and the confidence that today is your day and you get a chance to move closer to your dreams. And what if we told you that the secret to unlocking your best life starts with the moment you wake up and open your eyes? Welcome to the $1 Million Day Routine. Dave and I are going to break down and show you how you can turn your mornings and your day into a launch pad for success. Let's dive in. Hey, Dave, welcome. Welcome to episode 26.
Episode 26. I was stunned by that intro that I didn't know was coming. But I should have expected it, right? Because we're talking about the one thing that you always have to work on to get better at.
Yeah.
So, incrementally we get better every single time. I hope.
Episode. Yeah, I hope so. So, this has been a great last week since we were together. And there's so many things going on. So I had to just kind of jot them down on my notes. But first of all, I'm so tuned in to what's happening in the ultra running community. Listen, UTMB starts August 30th. I am so excited. Are you going to check it out live?
I don't know what time it starts, our local time. I have a feeling there'll be a big time differential, but I know we'll dip in. It'll be on here and there, and we'll be checking our favorite people in their updates on their social medias, wherever that is. So that is a long way for saying, yes, I'm excited.
I'm excited. If you haven't gone to their website, the UTMB, I think it's called UTMB Live Tracking. They have a killer website where you can check out the whole map. They have a 3D version. You can type in anybody's name on there to follow along their journey on the day of UTMB. And we are following virtually along with everyone that we are starting to know and learn about in this community. At the same time, man, cheers to all the athletes that are showing up from around the world with golden tickets on however they've got into the lotto to actually get in on this incredible race day for UTMB 100. It's just absolutely incredible. It is a dream of mine, but I have to celebrate the people that are out there doing it that continue to inspire me.
And, you really recognize the names of the top 20, but there's over 3,000 people in the race. Yeah. So there's 2,980 people plus that you've never heard of that are doing something that you're not doing. It's easy to be critical of people out there, right? But they're actually doing it. And so I think that is awesome.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that. So wish I was at that level. Not there yet, but we are working on it. Training update, Dave. Let's get everyone a training update. How's things going?
Good. I had waffles this morning. So it's Monday morning and we shoot our podcast. When do we shoot it?
Every Monday.
How about Tuesday?
Every Monday.
How about Sunday? No, it's on the calendar to do every single Monday at a certain time. And so this is the day, but Wendy surprised me with waffles, which was not on the schedule, protein waffles. I like it. I think we should put it on the schedule. I think it should become a habit.
And the listeners right now want to know, and how does that correlate with the question that Wendy just asked you? How's your training going? It just went straight to food.
Well, that's the way it is. So my training's going great. We have had a little sidetrack with your injuries, so there's been more bike riding, but had a great ride on Saturday where you flatted out at mile 15. And I gave you my bike, which apparently is too small for you. And just like a circus, like in the circus, you rode it back like just this little bike, which is strange because we're the same height, right? So I don't know how your seat can be like 6 feet higher than mine. But now I understand why you're always ahead.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's break this down. First of all, this last week, I have done some walking, no running for 1 week, by the way. No runs, which I've been so wanting to go out on a run.
I had a few.
So Dave did his runs. He did great. And then I've been walking, cross training, lifting, strength training, all of that, mobility, PT. And then we threw in some bike rides. I kind of tested my first bike ride on Friday on a mountain bike just to see where I was at. And then I'm like, let's just go out for this big 3-hour ride we wanted to get in. And we were I think 26 miles away from home base. And I flatted. I totally flatted out. And we had the electric pump. We had a spare air pump, and no matter what we did, we could not see anything in the tire. We could not see anything in the walls of the tire. I mean, it was like this mystery, like what is going on? And every time we pumped up, immediately go flat. And so Dave and I are out there. It's pretty early in the morning, and it was not too chilly, but not too bad. And we were like, well, what are we going to do? And I'm thinking, let's call an Uber. Uber will pick us up. And then I'm like looking at the Uber time frames, for when they can come get you. And I'm like, oh man, by the time they get to us, I could already be back to the house and then on my way to get you. So anyway, Dave, so kind of you, keeps my bike. I jump on your bike, which is obviously way too small for me.
Now wait a minute. It's not way too small.
I literally
it's not
feel
like it's not like I'm a midget.
I feel like one of those clowns in the circus. I mean, all the way back, I was just, all these other bikers are pedaling past me, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel, and this is actually not making any of my injuries better because I got to ride 26 miles back, the other direction. But we did get it fixed. It turned out to be so random.
An invisible wire that was very long going through the tire, through the tube.
Yeah, it went through the tire, through the tube, tiny little wire. Random. I've never had that happen in all my years of cycling.
And why didn't we break down the tire and put down another tube? If you know the answer in the comments, go ahead and post it.
Post that. Yeah, that'd be great. So the next day we actually went out we tried it again, got it fixed, tried it again, and it was about 15 degrees cooler. And I can tell you, it was like a little splash of fall saying, hi, I'm back. Welcome to your mornings for training. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, it's August. And it does get cool in the morning, especially this weekend. Did you know that the high Sierras, like where Western States Trail goes over, those first couple passes, they got snow on Saturday night. So first snow of the season. It's historic, like in 20 years. Crazy. But that's the cold front that came through.
Yeah, it didn't come up just up here in Idaho. It hit like California.
We still felt the effects though with a 40-degree morning ride.
Yes, it was chilly. I think about an hour and a half in, my feet felt like ice blocks, and I actually wore my booties. I was like, I'm wearing my booties in August. This is ridiculous, but my feet felt like ice blocks. I had my bar mitts on. Yeah, it was chilly. So.
Booties and bar mitzvahs.
I know. But you know what? We're making the best of the season. We know the season's going to change. We're actually excited. We're getting ready to change things up in our home gym. So excited to show you guys what that's going to look like. I'll take a before picture and after picture because we are swapping out treadmills to actually get some incline decline going with the Nordic Track. That 22i, I'm excited about.
Out goes the true form runner.
Out goes the true form, man. We've had that for.
We won't tell the story behind that.
Yeah.
But you got the Nordic Track, which 22i.
Yeah.
So that's on its way.
Yeah.
And
we're changing up the Wahoos for our cycle training, which they'll have now. We've been on iPads usually, which are like the tiny little iPads. So now we are going into some of the, I think they're 27-inch, 22-inch, something like that, monitors.
Well, we had a 27-inch monitor for the true form, so we'll just swap that over, and now we'll have like these big TVs for our rides, and it'll seem like it's really real out there.
Yeah, it'll be great. We're just it's so nice to kind of refresh the place where we spend so much time every single day. So I'm really excited, looking forward to those updates. But you know what, the different season's coming, and I think we have to embrace it. And that kind of reminds me of what's happening right now with back to school and habits changing, and what you're having to think about embracing for your new daily routine as the season change. Maybe you're not. Maybe you just stay. I'm not sure where you're at in the world. You might live in Arizona, maybe live in Florida, and your routine stays the same.
Now, if you're in Arizona, the season's going to be changing, so you could actually go outside.
You can go outside. Yeah, amazing. But we're excited to kind of break this down because. I think when you can create a daily routine that's unstoppable for yourself, it just sets you up for success. And it's okay when you wake up and you have a day that just is not going that way. And you just have to give yourself some grace and say, okay, this is the day I'm having, instead of beating yourself up. But before I actually get into the meat of that, I wanted to share what we are also doing that have changed our habits right now during this transition season. Dave and I have dove into a AI mastery class with Mind Valley, and we had our first two sessions last week. We're doing an essentials and we're doing an advanced class. Do you want to break that down, what we learned? I mean, I do feel like we're going to share with you every week what we're learning because we're in a 4-month intensive on this.
Well,
And it's not just like, hey, we're trying to learn some code, because it's not like the code that we're learning.
right, right. But we are learning actually how to write code, just not how to write code. But
Right.
I regress there. Let me go back. So we learned this week how to customize ChatGPT. If you didn't know, you hit the little wheel up above, and you can actually personalize it so the output that you always get is incredibly you, right?
Yeah.
The other was an amazing integration with make.com and a couple of other pieces that would allow you to take your website content and put it into an automation machine where every blog post gets turned into however many social media posts you would like it to with a click of the button. So it's pretty amazing. You know, when you look at it, it's just like I've been doing this stuff manually, and you continue to do it manually, right? It's just ideation. But
Yeah.
I think we're going to learn a lot. We've been applying a lot in our businesses anyway. And so it seemed like a really good move for us to be able to
And at the same time,
knock it out of the park.
yeah. And the reason I mention this is because I do think, because AI is here, it does affect how we are running, and how you want to top level and welcome your day into $1 million mindset day. And how can you work automations in to help you get to the next level? So that's also part of this. When I broke this down, there's so many people talking about, your morning routines, the best ways to, have your daily routines. But for us, I was going to break down, David, what we do, and then also what we're working towards, because we're always working towards being better, And I think when I mentioned the AI is, as we learn, we'll share with you and how we're applying a lot of the AI automations into our daily life, because it isn't just about GPT, it's beyond that, and how it can help us really have just a healthier, more successful life for ourselves.
At the end of the day, it creates time, right? And that's what automation is going to do. AI helps you create more time. And maybe you can apply that time to doing the thing you want to do in your life, which is run more or bike more or surf more
Or go out and have more adventures more.
be outside of the building more.
Well, before we dive in, I do want to say thank you so much for pressing play today. I mean, David and I know that you have a lot of options out there. So we are truly grateful that you are here with us. And, whether we're in your ears or you're cleaning the house, getting kids ready for school, driving back from errands or the gym, maybe it's even a run or a walk outside, whatever you're doing, we just want to say how much it means to us that you've chosen to spend the time with us. And your support and presence really makes a difference to us. And we're super excited to be here with you on your journey. So, like we like to say, mahalo for being part of our community. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to actually now say, welcome to Embers Rising. Yes. If you don't know who I am, my name is Wendy J. I'm here with my co-host, David Tucker, my husband, my business partner. And today we're really unlocking the secrets that start every day with purpose, power, and clarity, because we're going to dive into $1 million day routines, a simple, transformative approach, what David and I work on to make every morning the launch pad for your biggest goals. So in this episode, we're going to explore how to set intentions, visualize your success, and move the energy to align your emotions with the life you are building. This routine isn't just about checking boxes. It's about really creating the momentum, I would say, that fuels the fire all day long. So let's jump in, let's rise together and make every day $1 million day. So let's fuel the flame and keep going. Let's jump in. But I forgot. Oh my gosh, I get so excited about acknowledging our listeners. Hello, our shout outs. I have to recognize the community members here. And Jessie, bravo. Thank you so much for putting this together for us. She is our sidekick over there, just plugging away at project management. And she always helps us put this together. So thank you, Jessie.
Give her credit where the rock stars do.
Super grateful for Jessie. Bravo. And I'm just going to dive into here. This is from Instagram. I had a post that talked about being grateful for this amazing community, because you guys are what fuels us to continue to go. to push live every day, to push record for us. So we are so grateful. So thank you for that. This is amazing. I had and I don't know who this is because I cannot see them, but I believe this is Jess and Justin from the RV Life, which I love. And they didn't know we had a podcast. So hey, Jess and Justin, love it. We have a podcast. Yes. So cool. You guys have podcasts. What a great way to dive in topics in more depth. And they say this looks so good. Oh, so I posted my pecan bar recipe, which I have to make them. When I make them, David gobbles them up in like a few days. And so I don't get a chance to make them very much.
Well, you should make them more frequently based on that.
So they're like, this is a whole food, 5-bar, gluten-free, vegan pecan bars. The recipe's on my Instagram. Go check it out. And Jess and Justin say, this looks so good and easy enough that we could make it in an RV. Totally going to give it a try. Oh, that's awesome. Jess and Justin, let me know if you guys like that. I'm excited. It's all you need really is some sort of blender. I should make it live so you can see it, how I do it. Because if you have some sort of like Cuisinart art, Magic Bullet, a Mr. Beast, you just need something to kind of grind the ingredients together. But yeah, I'm excited about that. And then we have amplifyu.io. I love that, amplifyu.io. I think it is. But podcast sounds great. And thank you, amplifyu.io. I've got a new one, healthy.mom.healthy.family. Wow. Hello. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We love that. Did a post on building a strong partnership and how it takes daily effort to have shared communication and growth together, and not every day is easy. And she writes yes to this because when Dave and I go through the day, it's not like we're not going to have a disagreement. Things happen, opportunities happen, but you just have to continue staying committed and being positive. So healthy.mom.healthy.family. It's a long Instagram, but I love it. And thank you for supporting us there. And then our.whereabouts. We've seen you guys. Yep, 100%. That's great. I know those guys are a big couple as well. Those are on Instagram.
All right.
A couple more. I've got one from LinkedIn I'm not really sure how to say your name, but I think it's Ikramal Hake. I'm not sure. And it says, this was from a signboard that I posted. I'll never forget my first time running Rim to Rim. I kind of believe I mentioned the shout out last week, but I'm going to mention it again. It's so good. He said, you never know how powerful you are unless you test yourself. Let's go, Wendy J. Yeah. So I think that was last week's, but you know what? We'll slip it in again today. No.
I believe you're probably going to read that one every week.
It's so good. I love it. I'm just looking at anything else that's come up. Yeah, no, that is really, I guess we didn't have a whole, let me see. Well, let's see. Some things come up that I just miss. I just know I miss them. And I know Jesse works hard to put these together, but sometimes I just miss them. So yeah, that's it for today. If you guys want to leave us a comment on anywhere, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, out there, LinkedIn, whatever, the podcast, YouTube, we will find you. So yeah. We'd love to give you a shout out because we have some cool stuff coming up we're excited about. Now, Dave, let's jump in because let's get on topic of the $1 Million Day.
That's where I started, waffles.
First of all, for Dave and I, for us to have success, I really believe it starts by not the day. It starts the day before. You really need to schedule your week and your day ahead.
Absolutely. Right?
I mean, I don't think you can wake up and say, I'm going to plan today and the rest of the week. We really like to start making sure over the weekend, at some point during the weekend, that we have scheduled our entire week, planning our week. We have clear intentions and our priorities are really set above and beyond anything else. And this ensures us, Dave and I, that we are going to focus on what truly matters. And also, we're not talking about just the workload. We're talking about our personal life, everything from, and it's kind of long sessions because we're talking about what our training plans may be this week, our personal life, date night, all of that is coming into play. Appointments, meetings, all of that.
Oh, don't make me start talking about date night because it was pushed off the schedule this week.
It was pushed off the
So no wonder I'm just sitting here. But just for clarity for everybody that's out there listening, so what we do, nuts and bolts, is we carve out a time always on Sunday, and we sit down with our laptops and we go over, right, like everything Wendy just mentioned. And so we're very clear about what's going to be going on the next week, right? And then we do our long-term planning, what are our goals, you know, trips, those sorts of things that need to be planned farther out. But we basically have a rolling 4-week-ish type schedule. Sometimes, obviously, it's a little bit more. And that just is a system that creates a lot of time for us to actually get those things done. Because, you know, most people just put their meetings on a schedule and they say, I've got a schedule. That's not your schedule. That's your reminder of who owns your time, right? That's basically what a meeting is someone else controlling your time. So if you're going to control your time and get your training done, get your romance time in, whatever it is, you need to schedule it if you're busy.
I,
And if you don't, right, like you have habits whether you know it or not. So you're either going to write them down with intention or the world is going to consume you and take over and will control your time for you. Either way, it's your choice.
and here's what's so important about this. If you're not getting the changes that you want in your life and your day is probably staying the same, then you need to make a change. Because if you're waking up and doing the same thing that you did yesterday, last month, the previous month, 6 months ago, and your life is still the same and you really want to be somewhere else or do something else, you need to change your habits. And it starts with scheduling. It really starts with scheduling. I am a pen to paper girl and I love notebooks. I have several pen to paper notebooks. I believe it's called like Panda planners from Amazon. I love the small one. I love the large one. I also have a weekly spiral bound schedule, and then I also have my digital calendar. But I think actually for me to see the whole week planned is really good, and especially when you break it down to high priorities, like top priorities, to low priorities, to follow up, things that you're kind of working on that you need to circle back on, but they're not quite solved yet. They're coming into play though. So I think breaking that down is important. But here's the thing: is when you're scheduling and you want something different, it kind of starts. You have to write in the things that you're going to make the change to make it different. So if you're saying, I want to add, another training day, or I want to add a better nutrition plan, then write that you're going to spend an hour working on your nutrition plan. Like David had, we failed over it this weekend because we actually didn't carve out the time. But Dave wanted to, this is going to be interesting for him to share this with y'all, is he wants to have a new lunch plan, a new daily lunch plan. We didn't get a chance to carve out the time to actually spend an hour researching what would be an easy, convenient lunch other than sandwiches and chips. We didn't do it, but we will.
Waffles.
Waffles is good. But I just have to say that because scheduling your whole week as much as you can, and sometimes some of our brains just don't think that way. It does take practice, so don't be afraid. But if you at one point we were with a coach. Shout out man to Anthony Trucks, who was scheduling us like every hour, every half an hour on our entire schedule. By the way, he actually looked at our schedule too. Like he wanted to see everything that we were doing.
Yeah, we had to share it with him.
It was crazy. It was awesome. But, I think it's so important that in order to set yourself up for $1 million day, you need to be scheduled ahead. So when you wake up, the first thing you do is you already know what's on your schedule. Now, we know that things change, kids get sick, you don't feel good, life happens, seasons change, whatever. There's a huge snowstorm, you're not leaving the house, whatever it is, or a heat wave, or your air conditioning breaks. We know things that just life happens, and that's okay. Like, okay, give yourself some grace from that. Sometimes you're going through a season that you just have to take a pause from things. So we totally get that. But we're saying on a more normal day for you, make sure you're scheduled ahead. I had to start with that, Dave.
I like it. So scheduling has been huge for us in terms of getting what we want done out of life. But I'm actually going to say there's a step behind the scheduling, right? And scheduling is, at the end of the day, is sort of a tactic, right? And so what's the overarching strategy as to why you need a schedule? And I think it's your why, right? Like, why do I need to create more time? What do I want out of my life? And a great way to go about this is just go into Google and type in life's interview questions. And I don't want to go through them all here. There's about 15 of them, but it really helps you determine maybe what your why is, right? Like your underlying motivation for getting things done. Because if you don't write that stuff down, right, your mind is like a sieve and it's going to focus on whatever's in front of you right now, as opposed to, planting the seed of, I want to get from here to there and this is what I want out of life. So go in, search Google, life's interview questions. I think you'll like it.
David talked about, I want to circle back to what David said about your schedule isn't about meetings. And I would say like 99% of people think your schedule's about meetings. I think, ask yourself to reverse engineer that. So when I look at my schedule, Dave and I sit down, we talk about, okay, here's all the out of office appointments that we have. Here's all the meetings that we have planned. Here's all the non-negotiables that are on our schedule that are already set that we can't move those time frames. Then we go through the list. Each of us has a different list. We start grabbing off that list and then putting them into the spots on the schedule where we can fit them in. Like we know there's certain tasks and things that have to get done during the week, and I have to fill those in. So reverse engineer. And if you're like, I'm not sure what my tasks are, write down your dream list. Like what is it going to take you to get from this to this? Is it going to take some networking? Is it going to take some, time? Is it your activity schedule? Is it your nutrition plan? Like, what is it going to take? And that's what you get in your schedule. Because what will happen is what Dave just said, time will get away from you. A friend will call, your mom will call. Someone says, hey, do you want to, go grab lunch? Lunch bleeds over to more like 2 hours, 3 hours instead of 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And now your whole day is shot. Or last minute, a friend calls and say, hey, do you want to go camping up in the mountains? And you're like, I'm supposed to do like XYZ. You know what? I'm just going to go. Let's just go together, and now you've just, ditched 3 or 4 days, off your schedule instead of saying, hey, I have this weekend available and you have set your own boundaries for yourself. That is really important. And I think a lot of us just forget that because we're like, well, meeting set, and my day is pretty flexible. I think you have to kind of be rigid and disciplined in this. And it's tricky. It's very tricky because I know things change and we have to give ourselves some grace. But at the same time, be rigid with what you want to do to try to make the things happen for you, the goals and the dreams. So sorry, Dave, I had to circle back on that.
No, I like it.
Okay.
And
so,
I'll just share, I've got a quick little framework that might help you think through things. And, if you want to make a change in your life, the first step is you have to recognize what it is that you want, right? Or what it is you don't want. For me, I had to lose 60 pounds at one point. I had a health issue and I just woke up in my mid 40s and I recognized this is not where I want to be in my life. And that's going to help you formulate your why and your why now, right? And the next step is putting it on the schedule, prioritizes it, right? So it's there in front of you, I'm going to the gym, XYZ, go for a run, whatever it is I'm going to do. And putting it on the schedule prioritizes it. What that does over a short amount of time, 30, 40, 50 days, is it normalizes, right? It normalizes the process. And you can start to get to sort of that stasis, I call it. For me, when I was losing weight, what I normalized was, working out 5 days a week. I didn't do it like I do it now, but I was a gym rat back then. And I also knew that, hey, I'm in my 40s, but in my 20s, I looked like this, right? And so that was sort of my northern star as to where I needed to head. And once you get there, then you go into the optimization process, right? That's sort of the fourth piece of the framework. Now, once you get to sort of normal, and you're doing it all the time, it's part of your habits, part of your routine, then you can really start to refine the results that you get. Most people try to go for that optimized piece right away, right? They're like, all right, I'm going to have 6-pack abs, and it's got to be by next week. Of course, it's not realistic, right? When you're 60 pounds overweight, I had a 14-pack of abs somewhere under there. But people usually do that process in reverse. They just go to optimize and then fail. So that's it. Recognize, prioritize, normalize, and what was the last one?
Optimize. Wow, that's deep. Dave's gone deep on me. That's good. I mean, I think to me, I think everyone has so many different lifestyles. I was just thinking back to myself when I was adventure guiding and then I had another job. Actually, I was working 3 jobs over in Hawaii, and I was working at a restaurant, I was doing adventure guiding, and then I had my own marketing company. So I was just thinking about my day, and my schedule was a lot. Because if you're listening to this and saying like, I have like 2 jobs or 3 jobs or even 1 job, and so my mornings are really consumed with XYZ, there's still tiny things you can do. So stay with us, because there's still tiny little things that you can do to help you move the needle of where you really want to go. So I'm going to jump in, Dave, and move us along here on our next piece of $1 million day success. And that's wake up and hydrate. I mean, it sounds crazy, but sometimes we forget. We get so attached to the hot drinks of the coffee and the teas and whatever, or your Starbucks of the day. It is so important to begin your day with water, just plain water. And if you are an athlete, maybe a green juice or electrolyte. Hydration is the key to really kickstarting your metabolism and really to help maintain your energy. And so you've got to start with a bottle of water, or a glass of water. For us, Dave and I have been, I also understand you may be fasting. Dave and I have also done the fastings. So it depends on your season. But you still need the water.
But you still need the water. So whether you're fasting or not. In fact, I would say if you're fasting, and I've done a lot of IF, intermittent fasting, over the years here, the water becomes even more important.
Yeah. Dave and I are doing AG1. It's the green juice, and we are loving that. Then I also do an electrolyte because we are stretching first thing in the morning, and then we're hitting whatever our training plan is, whether strength training or we're cross training, running, biking, whatever it is, we're swimming, we're out there. So we want to make sure that we're hydrated so that we can do those exercises.
Super hydrated. Yeah. And that's our routine 5-6 days a week. Let's call it 6 pretty consistently if I look at Strava.
Yeah.
So get up and hydrate, and we head straight out to the stretching portion of the morning.
Yeah. And which is kind of my number 3. So hydrate is number 2. And number 3, find movement. Find some sort of movement. Even if you only have a 10-minute window, it is important to engage in some sort of physical activity, even if it's stretching. You don't have to do a full yoga workout, but you could find a workout that's maybe 10 minutes on YouTube, a yoga 10 minutes, or a 15-minute morning something. It's important to find movement no matter what. If you're an athlete, you already know that movement energizes your body, your mind, and prepares you for the day ahead. For Dave and I, our training could be very long. It could be an hour. It could be 2 or 4 hours, depending on what our training schedule is. So our morning may not really start till after we're done with training till like 10 or 11, so we understand that
on the weekends, we usually get it knocked out by 8:30 during the week, because
unless we're doing long runs,
there's stuff to do.
Yeah.
So we generally wake up around 5 a.m. and the hydrate, stretch,
movement,
exercise, all of that is between 5 and 8. Like, that's 3 hours. That's a pretty good amount of time during the week. There will be some longer runs occasionally, and then as the weather changes for us, right, we may actually jump into work a little earlier and then try and pull off that longer run outdoors in the afternoon when it gets light out. And it's not so cold.
When the time changes. I remember earlier this year when it was cold in February, March, we modified our runs to be more like around 10 or 11. We would do that. But we'd also did early morning runs together when the sun came up. So anyway, finding movement is so important somewhere in your day. And I want to jump into this because this is the fuel that's going to help you make the change. And it's visualizing success. If you can take time to stop and sit down, anybody that knows the path to success, whether they're a millionaire, an Olympic athlete, a leader, an influencer, this is the time to vividly visualize your goals. So whether you're healing from maybe an injury like I'm sitting down and visualizing my entire race course, all the way to all my aid stations, what I imagine my aid stations to look like, what I need, all the way back to finishing. So right now, even though I'm not racing or practicing or rehearsing or out there doing my training runs, I'm mentally visualizing, I'm using the power of my brain, and I'm seeing what I can do with that space to visualize for that, to prepare for this race. This is also a good time to really imagine what you want to achieve, out of life. So I think sitting down and visualizing your success, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you need to pour fuel on the embers that are burning inside of you. Those are the little dreams that want to grow with you. And it's time to help you visualize yourself blazing forward with all of that energy. And it may not be, you can see yourself when you sit down and visualize what you want to get out of your life. And it may not happen today, but visualizing is kind of like lifting weights. You go to the gym, you lift, but you're not going to get the result today. But the more you do it, the more consistently you're attracting the energy to come in to help you make the shift. Remember, our brains are 100% programmable. And when we think of the people like the Olympic athletes that just happened, right? We think, oh my gosh, those people are so incredible. The reason they're so incredible is because they have programmed their brains to do those routines, whatever that is. They have the 100% programming to go out and like do that thing. They've already visualized themselves doing it, not just physically out there performing.
Same thing with anybody that's super successful
and
talented at whatever they do, whether it's a lawyer or a musician,
Absolutely.
or even raising, the kids, right? Like,
yep,
they have to do it at the highest level. And I think that visualization, it creates a lot of clarity, right? All of a sudden you're planting the seeds of clarity as to why, and then you can start to refine why you need that clarity. It also generates energy, right, inside of you. And I think it's important to remember, like, as humans, we don't just have energy, we generate energy. We're generating energy all the time. And so one of those tools is visualization. And then it just naturally, by planting those seeds, it raises the necessity inside your head as to how important it is, right, to take that daily action. And that's the next step, because we're in a time where we see people putting visualization stuff, manifestation stuff all over the internet. And they're like, I visualized, I manifested, and I got this thing. No, you didn't, unless you took the action, right? For the most part, you really need to take the action and take it to that next step.
And I'm actually talking about very soulful. You speaking of the internet, it makes me think of people visualizing from social media. A lot of what you see is really not true. I was just listening to a story on a podcast where someone took their kids over to this incredible place that was on TikTok. And it was like a ice cream shop or something. And they traveled all this way to go check this place out that they saw on TikTok, because the videos were absolutely incredible. And the kids went there, and it was so disappointing because it was nothing like what was shown on social media. So what I'm talking about is super core to you. That's why I say listen to the embers inside you. It's not looking at it on social media, unless it's a positive visual that's going to feed you back and it's actually helps you generate more energy. Of course, it could be a quote, it could be a message, it could be somewhat, a short podcast, message. But the whole point here is it's important to take some time during the day, even if it's sitting in your car for 5 or 10 minutes. And I've done it in a parking lot, and I've sat there and I just close my eyes, lock your doors for safety, and then, just vividly visualize your goals. Even if you don't know exactly what they are, but you kind of are on the path, it will become more clear the more often you do it.
Something you said there I think is important, right? And that is, manifestation, visualization, meditation, all those things is as much about listening as it is setting the intention, right? And everybody thinks like we're going to sit down and pre-program the way it's going to go. But the universe may have a more incredible divine plan for you that hasn't been uncovered, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why writing in journals is great, but also just spending that time just listening. And like a boomerang, sometimes your idea will come back to you in a way that's much grander, much more incredible than the way you'd originally thought about it.
Yeah. And visualization is different than prayer, by the way, because visualization is taking what you are dreaming of to next level. And now we move into my next, I think it's number 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. Because once you visualize, now it's time to take and align the actions that you visualized to reflect the new identity of who you're building. And you have to ask yourself, what would the person I'm building, inspiring to be, what would they do right now? And then actually do it. So if you're visualizing this healthy, amazing strength training body, then you actually have to put time and energy into it. If you're imagining yourself being on stage doing this incredible music gig, you actually have to start doing it. You have to find ways to do it. Because this, David, you and I know, is aligning our action to make it happen. And we know when we put ourselves out there, we're taking the action. Right now, we're virtually taking the AI, we're taking the action to show up for our classes every week. We're taking that action. We're taking action into making our dreams with the training and reprogram things in our brain that we didn't think was possible.
And just like Embers Rising podcast, right? It just came out of the fire inside of us to actually have a great podcast, but we had no, illusions or delusions like it was going to be great. And here we are, episode 26, and this is probably the 26th worst episodes we'll ever create, right? But every time we do this, we learn a little something and we gain that competence in what it takes to do this. And it's that confidence loop, right? The more you do something, the better you are, the more confident you are, and you just learn skills, right? And that's the loop.
It is. And I want to say, if you're starting something, it is totally can be messy. Like when Dave and I started podcasting, we literally sat like next to each other and turned a light on. It was so weird. I felt like we were newscasters. Go back and see like episode 1 or 2. It was really funny. And then we transitioned to like over professional. It just looked like too dolled up, and we couldn't see each other. We were in separate studios, and it was just not really working. And then we said, let's totally change the format and just get raw, real, and just open ourselves up without like a dedicated, has to be like a radio show. This is Wendy and David. You are with us. You are part of our community. We're excited to be with you. This is us. And this is our new format.
And I think we're getting better at it. In fact, I know we are. I don't know if you out there are loving it more.
Leave us a comment. Let us know. But here's the thing is David, we're talking about, just to stay on track about aligning your actions, it's okay to be messy. You have to start somewhere. It may not be great. I was just reading an article about a guy who saved his life by buying a Wahoo kicker trainer, because he didn't have time to ride his bike, wherever he was living, and he wanted to lose weight at the job that he was at. He literally bought a Wahoo kicker, and Wahoo kicker is like a smart trainer for your bike, an indoor smart trainer that you throw your bike on. And he lost all of this weight and became, crazy enough, a runner. He transitioned to a runner, and I believe the article even said into even a triathlete. And I'm saying, if I could find the article, I'll show it on YouTube. But it's incredible, the transformation, because this guy looked so overweight on his bike, and you just felt incredibly bad for him. But the way he was so determined of every day, and he actually, even in his story, talked about going into this bike shop and, just explaining his situation. And I'm sure the bike shop was like, yeah, you're never going to get there. But then transitioning to where he's at today, he could probably run UTMB. I mean, it's incredible. It's unbelievable how he saved his life because he was determined to do something. And so whatever your dream is, it's a calling inside of you. It's been planted from God, the universe, what have you. Go for it. It's what Embers Rising is all about, man. We are here to support your dreams, chase your goals. I mean, really feel that flame inside. So
in that story,
yeah,
did he share his why? Like,
I don't remember reading that. Why, but I think it was to save his life. Yeah, he that was the kind of opening line of the story.
Awesome. That's why I changed direction to lose the.
He was very large.
Lose the weight. I only had 60 pounds to lose, but that's a lot of weight to actually drop off. But at the end of the day, people go after what they want, right? And so we're talking about these habits and writing them down, visualization, manifestation, taking action, doing the work, planting all those seeds. You're biologically set, right? Like the universe has set you to go after what you want. And so if you don't have a clear picture of what it is, you're not going to get it. And if you're not getting what you want, probably your picture isn't clear enough. Yeah. And we recognize that in parts of our life, right? Like we want more, we want to be better, we want whatever it is. And so we continue to clarify that picture.
Well, this kind of ties into number 6 because I was reading on a forum in Mind Valley about so anyway, if back to aligning your actions, it's important to take action. And I want to go even further, one step back, talk about visualization. I just want to mention this because Dave and I have used Vishen Lakhiani's 6 Phase meditation that really helps you visualize. Joe Dispenza has a great 15-minute meditation, or morning and afternoons are his classic meditations from Joe Dispenza. If you can get your hands on those are fantastic for visualization, your success. But here's one big key, going back to my story. I was reading on a forum in Mind Valley. They have a lot of great manifestation courses. But one of the things I was reading was a gal said, I have been doing manifesting for like 3 years and nothing's happened. And you're yeah, exactly. Dave's like head like, what? How could that be possible? His head just like turned. And the thing of it is, you have to align your emotions to make sure your emotions match your goal. You can't just sit down and say, well, I did my 15-minute visualization. I checked it off my list. I move on. And now you're in the same mindset. You actually have to take your emotions that you feel the success and abundance and joy as they're already a part of your life. Like you've already won the race, the 50K, without any pain. You've already done the thing that you want to do. You could already imagine it. That's aligning your emotions, because they had said the same thing to her when I was reading down in the forum. You probably haven't aligned your emotions on a daily basis for the manifestations that you're calling into your life.
Right. You can't go just through a checklist and like, I want money, I want this, I want a relationship.
I visualized it. Yes. I'm done.
Yeah. So on the left side of the paper, you write down the steps that you need to take and who you need to become. But on the other side of the paper, I don't know, left, right, maybe I'm dyslexic. You really need to write down the heightened emotions that you're going to apply to it and then feel them, right? Like, what's it going to feel like to cross the finish line of your first whatever, 10K, 50K, whatever it is. And that's going to be what drives you, right? You're going to go after what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we had a glitch. David's camera dropped and we had to take a few minutes to get it back on. So we are diving back into aligning your emotions, where we're talking about matching your emotions with your goals and feeling the success and abundance and joy as if they were already part of your life in the thing that you are dreaming of doing, and how important that is, because we're talking about visualizing and you've got that piece down. We're talking about taking the action, you're doing the action steps, and now we emotionally need to connect all of that, the visualization and the actions, to make sure that you are continually fueling your flame and getting your dreams, bringing those dreams alive, So anyway, all right, let's move on. We've kind of like dove into that emotion side, and we really wanted to dig in and talk about what we're also continuing to do that we really believe in is continuous learning. And I think that's important because you're not at where you're at until you continue to learn more, right? So it's important on your schedule to dedicate the time to reading, listening, virtually joining podcasts, courses. Lifelong learning is so important because it keeps your brain active and alive. It keeps you growing and evolving. So always continuous learning. It is part of living a successful $1 million day.
And it's part of being just more remarkable in your life, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to doing that. And so I'm just going to sidetrack down to the people that are listening that may be in that 40-ish plus range. And what you're saying is even more important for that age, because biologically speaking, humans, right, they sort of become hardwired somewhere in their mid 40s. And that's why the rest of their life looks pretty much the same. And there's that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but an old dog can actually learn new tricks. You just have to work at it a little bit harder. So there's a saying we have in brain health coaching, neurons that fire together wire together. And if you are hardwired to be a certain way, to do a certain thing, to have a certain life, that's where you're at. And the challenge of making that change in your 40s plus, you need to go through these steps even more, right? Like you need to be religious about scheduling and taking the daily action and visualizing and meditation. All this stuff feels super uncomfortable if you've never done it before. Someone who's in their 20s, they're like, oh, meditation, cool, let's do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's do it now. And someone that's never meditated and they're in their 50s, they look at you like, what you talking about? I'm not going to be doing that. And you need to fight against that mentality, because that's what ultimately is the wall that holds you back.
I think so. I think so many times, so many of us say, I can't do this because of XYZ. You can. It's just about how you design your day. You can get to the gym for 10 minutes or 30 minutes. You can continue learning, even if it's for 15 minutes. Maybe you only have 15 minutes in the car or while you're doing your hair or whatever it is you can find the 15 minutes, but always continue learning. To get to the goal, to get to the dream, it's important to add this into your success of the day. So for Dave and I, we are always diving into reading. And sometimes I feel really behind, like everyone else is so in front of me and they know so much more than I do, is so much better than me, but do not go down that road. Acknowledge where you're at and believe in yourself and know that you are unique and special like God made you. And so show up for yourself and add to your list, I am going to learn something new today, even if it's a takeaway from this podcast today. So we'll say that. But my next thing, unless you have anything else to add to that, Dave.
No, I think that's my cue. I think that's my cue not to add anything.
So my next thing is I really want to make sure that, in our Success $1 Million Day, we want to network and connect. When you self-isolate, it doesn't help you grow. Anybody that's successful out there, and I love Olympic athletes because they have so many different coaches, from, psychologists to their training coaches and so on. You need multiple people to help regular engage in your network. So important. Friends, but maintaining strong relationships with people is the key to opening new doors and opportunities, even if you have to circle back. I just had an instance. There was a friend of ours that we helped support earlier this year, and Dave and I kind of dropped off. We had gone on to our adventures in May, off to the Grand Canyon, off to Moab, kind of had our summer together. He had shared with us some things that he's doing now. In my brain, I'm assuming that he's doing fine. He's doing great. He doesn't need us. I haven't heard from him. Reached out to him over the weekend. Turns out he comes back today and says, I could really use your help with something. So you never know, so it's so important to keep those relationships alive if they feel right to you, so you never know. Don't ever assume that whoever's on the other side is doing a fantastic job. We have had people, and you and I, David, know that we've thought people were doing a fantastic job. And in the middle of the conversation, they said, hey guys, can I share something with you? And they were going through something really terrible in their life.
And we've been on the other side of that, right?
We have.
Trying to get stuff done, and you've got something horrible going on in your life, right? And this isn't the place to insert it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it is, right? And you've got to pick your community. It's so important. The thing about, if you adopt these habits, you're going to become a different person. And so the community that you're used to may not serve you in the way that you were hoping it would, right? Like they say, birds of a feather flock together, right? But when you change the color of your feathers, and you probably might be flying a little bit higher. And those people in that community may not like that, right? They may want to hold you down. So sometimes you just need to get the flock out of there and find another community, and that's actually doing the thing that you aspire to do, right? They're creating those outcomes. And without it, right, it's hard to go it alone, because you get so many ideas, right? And just one 15-minute conversation, sometimes you get just that one idea that takes you to the next level.
It's kind of why I'm pumped to kick up our Embers Rising Facebook group, because I really want to hear more about your guys' dreams. We are so well connected, and I know a lot of people like you guys are out there are also well connected, and you may be able to help someone also fuel the dream. So you just never know how we can all help each other. But if we don't share, we have no idea what you're going through, and so we cannot really help you. But it's important to virtually even get connections to those groups that you want to be part of. Physically is even more important if you can, but virtually too. But make sure you're regular about communicating.
I think the virtual connection really is a stepping stone to the actual relationship, right? It's hard to continue to just have virtual relationships. But I get it, right? Like running is a perfect example. We're in a couple of communities, the Sally McRae community, and there is so much information coming from that you're able to use. But at the end of the day, there's nothing like sitting down belly to belly with another human being and
having a conversation,
having a glass of wine.
Yeah. But, FaceTime still works. Zoom still works. You can always kick up those meetings anyway. It's just important to connect.
I'm interested to hear about the message you got today. So In fact, I always learn something about Wendy on this podcast, and that's one of the great things. Here I go, sidetrackville. One of the great things about changing the format to where we're across from each other,
Yeah.
because I can read you so well, right? And when we were doing it in our own offices, it was like isolated, and it was like having a Zoom meeting with your wife, right? It was really strange, but I couldn't fully, receive the energy. So
Dave needs a lot of energy too.
yeah, I'm a rebel, so it takes energy.
All right, I want to kind of wrap this up with a couple of more about. We talked about AI at the very beginning, and I think delegating and automating is something else that you can include in your $1 million day. Focus on high value activities that are driving you towards what you desire to do, and delegate the automated tasks. Did you know you can hire a virtual assistant for a pretty low cost out there to help you get some things done? You can also be part of communities that can help you get some things done. There's also a lot of things that you may not even, you're thinking, my gosh, I don't even have a training plan. There's a lot of things that you can even go out and figure out for yourself. For example, if you are part of the Training Peaks community and you've never dove into actually purchasing a plan, you can actually purchase a training plan from Training Peaks, whatever your activity is. A couple clicks of the button, it lines it up all on your calendar, and boom, you have a training plan. But I mean, that doesn't say that that's exactly what you should do, because I think a coach is always good. But go out and actually look at costs out there to see. What I'm talking about is when you can delegate and automate something so that when you show up on your schedule, it's there. You're actually helping yourself do more. And when Dave and I are learning about how to include AI into your daily life style and how to take the pressure off and what we can learn to help ourselves live a more, soulful, mindful, resilient, strength focused day that you feel good about at the end of the night. This sets yourself up for success. Continue to set yourself up for success. So, and also, we were on a call and someone was saying, I think it was last week on the AI Mastery, they said, we don't know how to manage our courses. Like, where do we manage all of our information? This is another podcast episode, David, because we have a system that we can manage all of our business and all of our personal on a system where you can just pull it up on your app and it's all there. That is fantastic. But to not have a system, yes, it can be mind blowing, because people are saying, I lost the login. I don't even know what I finished. Where do I put my notes? They're scattered. They're on G-Docs. They're on Excel. I don't even know what to do. So
they're in a notebook, which I love notebooks. I love my notebook. You see it's over here, but it's a prelude to a system. Yeah. It's not an actual system.
So we'll have to break that one in another episode, but delegate and automate is huge. And then my last couple of things that I had on here was unplug and recharge. It's really important to take time to disconnect from technology, your phone, and work, and really spend time doing things relaxing, like going for a walk or enjoying some hobbies that you enjoy or spending time with loved ones. For us, we had a heavy shoot day over the week, and in the evening when we were done at like 3:30 or something, we said, hey, let's just jump into gardening for a couple of hours to get some landscape stuff done that we wanted to do. We knew some colder weather was coming in. So that's where we unplug and recharge. We are away from our work, we're away from our phones, we're with each other, and we're doing something we enjoy. And that's important, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be landscape, but it helped us fuel our flame for just getting unwind a bit, from the heavy day. And my last one is something that I've been incorporating, and it's really reflect, pray, and journal. At the end of the day, it's important to wind down and reflect on what you've achieved. Whether you're sitting back down and you're just taking a couple of notes on your journal or on your phone notes or whatever your journal is, expressing some gratitude for the things that actually went right, that you're alive, that you're okay, or you're moving through whatever you're moving through. Those things that are already manifesting in your life is your gratitude, and the visualizations are already coming through. So it's time to reflect and have that gratitude. So for me in the evenings, I like to write. So I sit down and I write, do a little red light therapy, and then and I add my gratitude in there. I also am mentally programmed in my habits. When I lay my head on my pillow, I actually go through my gratitude list. And so I'm just doing my prayers and my gratitude. So I already just kind of like automatically, and that usually puts me to sleep, is I just go through my list of gratitude.
Somehow it certainly puts me to sleep, right?
Yeah, you're like gone, but
I have a switch. I have an on-off switch. So by the time you're done with your
I
list,
have
I'm
like
like,
100 things to be grateful for, and I just love it, every day. So I think that's important, but I really wanted to mention that. Did you want to add something, Dave? Or
no, it's just I think you are your habits, right? And
Yeah.
that's where it comes down to. Let's do a little speed round here.
Yeah.
What's one habit that you have adopted this year that you're grateful for?
Probably visualization and journaling. Yeah.
What's one habit that you have that's not a good habit that you want to break this year?
My mindset when I feel bummed out about life. I wish it was a more of a flip a switch. It takes me a little while to kick in to some positive mindset. Yeah.
Got it. For me, my habit, I started running at the beginning of this year, and I talk about running now, like, oh yeah, I'm a runner. Well,
You're still a newbie runner.
I'm still a newbie, but I just committed to the process of like, well, I'm going to do it 3 or 4 days a week. It's going to cut into my biking and a couple of other things, but I'm just going to do it, and I'll see what the outcome is at the end of the year. And I'm shocked at this point in time in August how far I've gone, right? From like having to stop every 100 yards to now thinking about, 50K. And so that's awesome. The habit that I'd like to break, and maybe you can help me break this. I'm going to show you the thing.
He's showing me his phone.
I have to get rid of it in the morning and the evening. And I don't know how, because I'm so addicted to the information that's on there. And,
It's the first thing they say in the do in the morning is never check the news or your email or anything like that. It just doesn't set the vibe up right. I mean, I am really bad at just checking weather because we're always tuned into our weather. So my first go is like weather, and then get off that phone. And if you really want to get off your phone, have an Alexa or something and let them tell you what the weather is.
Yeah, weather's a gateway drug on your phone. So, but that, and also in the evening, I just don't like sitting around with you and then having my phone in front of me. Like, we know it's a no-no at the dinner table, a lot of things, but it's that first and last hour of the day.
No, thank you. It's really, really good. We'll continue to work on that. I think that kind of wraps it up. I hope that you guys have learned something or have taken something away from this, because there's so much to create $1 million day for success. And even if it's $1 million morning and you want to grab something, I know Mel Robbins talks about $1 million mornings. I know she has her, her strategies that work really well too. But, any of that, anything that we may have been able to inspire you today, we would love it. If you could rate us on Spotify, that would be amazing. We would love if you could drop some sort of review on Apple Podcasts for us to know that you guys are out there and alive. Follow us on social media and any of the channels. We are there. Remember, we're moving Embers Rising YouTube channel over to its own YouTube page. So watch for that launch. We'll be mentioning it probably next week, I think, is when we're going to be launching all the videos.
And drop in the comments any habits that you're struggling with, either good or bad, that you want to create or uncreate in your life. And you never know.
Yeah, let us know.
The community out here might have some great ideas.
And we'd love to give you a shout out. We're working on some merch for Embers Rising. We are getting, kind of close on the design, but we're taking some time on it because we really want it to be amazing. So that's going to be coming up soon. But thank you so much for joining us on this episode. I mean, we hope really that today's conversation about the $1 Million Day routine has sparked new ideas and really energized you for how you're approaching your mornings, your day, and every day is a fresh start. Every day you wake up, you have a chance to align your actions with your highest goals and really step into the identity of who you are building. And I think that's so awesome. I mean, whether you're implementing these habits right away or you're just taking 1 or 2 small steps, and you say, I'm just going to bring emotion into it or whatever it is, or I'm just going to journal it or reflect or unplug, you're moving in the right direction. So keep showing up for yourself, keep fueling the flame. And remember, the small, consistent steps that you take every morning create the biggest transformations over time. Like David letting go of his phone in the morning is going to create the biggest transformation over time. So we are grateful to have you with us. We love you. We are so excited you're on this journey with us as we are with you. Until next time, keep rising, keep growing, and no matter what, keep going.
All right.
All right. Aloha.
Aloha.